Now that you have your job board set up, one of the first things you'll want to do is build out the job trees that are associated with your job board. So from your job board admin panel that you see here, what you'll want to do is navigate to data management. And those two fields that you'll use to primarily build out the job trees are called occupations and specialties back here in the job board admin. So the first step you'll want to do is go to occupations. And if you have worked during the onboarding process with the HiringOpps team to load some default job trees, you will see those loaded here, so you won't have to do this step. However, if you are a very niche job board and you've chosen to add your own, you can do that by adding those individually, or you can import them using a CSV if you have quite a few. So if you want to just do them individually, what you'll come up here and do is click Add Occupation. And then next you'll be able to just add in and type the name of the occupation. Also from this page, this candidate referral payout will be associated with the affiliate program that we'll touch on a little bit later. And also in the occupations page, you can associate specialties and all these different other fields with that occupation as you start building out your data. So again, first you'll want to add in those occupations, and if you don't want to do it individually, you can do it a little bit faster by importing a CSV. So you'll come over here and click Import. And what you'll need to do is have the CSV saved somewhere in your computer where you can grab it. And what you'll want to do when you have that formatted is have it in two columns. And you'll have the occupations in one column and then the specialties associated with that in another column. And you'll reuse this when you upload the specialties too. So if you do have headings, you can check that, but they are not required to do the import. And then next you'll just add or choose the column that has the occupations in it. So you'll see it'll change a different color here to mark that those are associated there. So when you do click submit, what happens is those occupations will then be added to your job board. And the next step you'll want to do is go into specialties. And again, you can add these individually, but likely you have quite a few. So the best option would be to put that into that CSV that we used and just do another import. So again, click on Import over here on the right and browse to find the file on your computer. And then again, it does show this preview of the two columns that you have. If you do have headings, just check that box. Otherwise, move on down to this section where you'll choose the occupation column and then the specialty column. And so again, it'll color code it for you so you can double check that you're associating occupations on the left and then the specialties on the right. And then go ahead and click submit. And then you'll see that those specialties have been added, all of those listed here. And then the other fields in the back end that you can use that are already built into the platform if they're relevant to your candidates. You'll see like certifications back here. This is good if your industry, if your candidates have certain certifications that they earn. What you would do is come in here and add a list of those certifications that they would get to choose from a drop down. So again, the add button is up here on the right. So you can come in here and name the certification whatever you want and just keep adding those to build out that list of certifications. Next is degrees, very similar. If your candidates earn certain degrees in their work experience or educational processes, you can list those here. So again, you're just going to go up to add degree, list the one that you want to here and keep building those out. Education levels, you can also build out. Sometimes the HiringOpps team will load those by default for you. So if you do have any questions on those, you can also ask the team. Position types is another one that's pretty straightforward in terms of the different types of jobs that your job board employers will be posting. So some samples, part-time, full-time, permanent, any of those can be used here. Again, you're building out a list where your employers will be able to select these from a drop-down. And then for position types, your candidates will also be able to search jobs from that list of fields that you add. The next section I want to touch on is custom fields. So if you do want to add any custom fields, you can do that again from under data management, custom fields. And so you can add custom fields to different sections across the platform, including the candidate profile, the employer profile, the candidate or employer registration pages, as well as the individual job postings. This is very beneficial if you are in a very specific industry. You might have very specific questions that you need to ask some of your users or add to job postings. So you can come back here and you can add a few different types of custom fields. So you can add multiple choice, yes or no. They can be, just straightforward, or they can be associated with one of your occupations that you've added. You can also do these text fields. Those are just write-in fields if you want to add, an area where somebody can just type in the box. And then the video field would be a video URL field. Most likely this is going to be used on the candidate side, where perhaps your candidates have a YouTube or a Vimeo video profile they share about themselves. So adding that field would just add it as a field that they can copy and paste that link into. So you'll go ahead and name the field. You can name it, a question. What type of systems have you used? And then you can go through all of these site settings that you see here that you can add associated with the custom field. So you set whether or not it's available on the job, if it's required on the job. So again, if it's required, it is a field that your employers will have to fill out before they can post a job. And then you can also set whether or not it's included in some of those exact or good matches that the platform uses to match jobs to candidates and then candidates to jobs in the company dashboard. And then as you go down, these different fields you see here, those are the different positions where you want it to show up on the page. So these are weighted by different numbers. You can put, any type of number in there, and it'll show up in different areas, either higher up on the page or lower down on the page, depending on how you put those numbers in there. And then the locations that you add, you can choose whether you want it to show up on the registration page, just on the profile. Generally, what HiringOpps job board owners do is add questions for candidates to the profile rather than adding questions to a registration page, because it can make that process a little bit longer. The other section, as you're building out data on the back end of the platform, is the company type. So by default, what you're going to see when you build your job board is these three options. So employer, recruiter, academic. If these are not relevant to your business or your industry, you can definitely edit these. You can also add your own company type if you perhaps call companies organizations or profits or whatever you'd like to refer them as. So that's the data management section. This is one of the larger pieces that you'll want to fill out, one of the first items you get started with your job board.